Ha! Somebody sent me this link. I open it up and I go, oh no, not this clown again. Farron Cousins. He is something else. It's truly amazing that as much interest as he has in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, he knows almost nothing about it. Or does he? Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
Now, we're going to go ahead and watch this, but keep in mind, he's going to make a ton of mistakes. My question to you is, are these really mistakes?
A massive data breach at Christian crowdfunding website GiveSendGo has revealed that there are plenty of police officers and even some public officials who are donating money to the legal defense fund of Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, in case you've forgotten, Kyle Rittenhouse is the person who last August, when he was 17, took a semi-automatic weapon that, because of his age, he was technically legally not allowed to own at the time.
Well, I disagree with that. I've looked at the Wisconsin statutes in real great detail, and in my opinion, I think Kyle was legally allowed to have the rifle. The state may disagree, but the way I interpret it, I think he's good.
Took it across state lines.
And he didn't, but Farron Cousins knows this. This is something that really bothers me about this whole deal with Kyle Rittenhouse. People are repeating things that they know are lies. He knows fully well that Kyle didn't take the rifle across state lines. How many people have corrected him on this point? He doesn't care. It furthers the message he's trying to get across. And that's all that matters to these people. Truth is nothing. All that matters is whether the message furthers their aim. And this is why they call it propaganda. Propaganda occurs when you don't care about what's a lie and what's the truth, but only what it will give you.
And murdered 2 left-wing protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Kind of interesting. He calls 2 left-wing protesters. Well, first of all, Rosenbaum was not a protester. We know that. He was there to try to start fires and just get in fights. I don't know about Anthony Huber, but also, he said murdered. Hey, the last time I looked, innocent until proven guilty. And Kyle has not been tried yet. But innocent until proven guilty means nothing to these people. They don't care. And in reality, they don't care if Kyle is innocent. They just want him convicted because this is all about a political battle. They want to win this, to twist the knife in the conservative side. And if they have to sacrifice the life of a 17-year-old kid, they will gladly do it.
He was arrested by police. By the way, there's no evidence that these protesters were armed in any way.
He absolutely knows that Gage Grosskreutz had a gun on him. He's just going to push this unarmed deal because he has his minions that are going to follow that and buy into it. Again, he doesn't care about truth or lies, right or wrong. He just wants Kyle convicted at all costs.
Arrested by police, allowed to, get out on bail, where he has since been photographed partying in bars at the tender age of 18, where that is highly illegal.
He knows fully well that Kyle was allowed to drink in that bar because his mother was with him. You don't think he didn't read any of those news articles that straightened out the record? Of course he read them. He knows fully well that Kyle was legally allowed to drink that night, but he's just going to say that it was illegal anyway. Again, he doesn't care about the truth. This is propaganda. This is how they do it.
He's been photographed with members of the Proud Boys. And now we know, thanks to this data breach, that plenty of police officers from all over the country have been donating to his cause.
So what? So what? It's a legal defense fund. A lot of people have legal defense funds. The people who need it the most are the people who people think are guilty.
One of them, and I'm not going to name any names here, but The Guardian did publish some of these names.
Illegally, I should add. And notice he has no problem whatsoever using ill-gotten gains here to further his message.
And that article is linked in the description of this video in case you would like to know. But one of the donations, one for $25, made on September 3rd of last year, so like just right after the killings happened.
Like that makes a difference.
Said, "God bless. Thank you for your courage. Keep your head up. You've done nothing wrong."
That's right. And the person who wrote that probably thinks that Kyle did nothing wrong because he saw self-defense. He thinks that Kyle has been falsely accused. We're supposed to have a trial to find out. In this man's guise, Kyle is guilty. And even if he's innocent, it doesn't matter. He's a political enemy. He knows fully well that there's a self-defense argument here. It doesn't matter to him.
That was from a police sergeant. And there's plenty more. There's more quotes. There's more officers. There's more officials here. This is disgusting. And by the way, most of these were given anonymously. So, reporters actually had to track the email addresses because these idiots use their work email addresses, which actually does raise some legal concerns.
Actually, it doesn't raise any legal concerns at all. And the reason why they probably use their email addresses is because they don't think it's any big deal if somebody finds out that they have donated money to a legal defense fund. They're not contributing money to some white supremacist group. They're contributing money to a kid who needs money for legal help to defend himself in court. And they probably typed their email addresses in there because at the time they didn't think it was anything controversial about it. And furthermore, there's nothing illegal about it. All they did was enter their email addresses because that's where the confirmation of the donation is going to get sent to.
About whether or not they were using public equipment, owned by cities, states, and the federal government to make these donations. So
right, because if you type your email address into a text box, you must be using government equipment to do that. It would be impossible to go home, turn on your personal computer, and type in your government email address into a text field. I donated money to Kyle, and when you do, it asks you for your email address. You type it in, and that's where it can send confirmation that you donated the money. And you could use that for tax purposes. Now, of course, if you use your work email, you probably can't use it for taxes. But that's all it was. And all that happened was that an email was sent to that address so that when he's looking through his email, he clicks on it. Oh, okay, they got my money. That is hardly using government equipment for private gains.
That could come back to bite them. And also, if you're going to do something online, don't ever use your work email. That's pretty stupid, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's all that dumb, to be honest with you. So what? I don't quite get what everybody's getting worked up over here. Again, it's not like they had to log into their email account to donate the money. It just asked for their email address.
Nonetheless, what we're seeing right here is police officers across the country proving that it's not just a few bad apples, right? Because we've heard a lot of that in the last couple weeks as police officers continue to shoot unarmed black men, including a 13-year-old kid.
Wait, what 13-year-old black kid got shot? Is he talking about Adam Toledo? He's Hispanic. By the way, so is Kyle, apparently.
Just a few bad apples, they tell us. We're not all like that. We're not all bad. We don't condone the killings. No, you do. You're condoning killings.
They're condoning self-defense. And he's being disingenuous. He fully well knows that there is this self-defense argument out there. If I was putting together this video, I would say, as part of my message, here's the reason why that self-defense argument doesn't work. I would have to address it because he absolutely knows that innocent until proven guilty. That would be the first thing I would address. I have this outrage towards somebody contributing money to somebody's legal defense. I would have to first establish that the person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And he doesn't even address it. He just assumes it. He knows there's a self-defense argument out there. He just doesn't want to address it.
So you know what? It's no shock here that this police sergeant would leave a message that says you've done nothing wrong. Because in the eyes of police, shooting people in the line of duty, whether they're armed or not, if they're just bugging you or agitating you, or you don't feel like dealing with the situation in a responsible, mature way, you just kill them, right? That's what cops in America do today.
Right, because the average cop wants to do nothing but kill people all day long. Is that the message that he is trying to send to people? And this is the reason why I say this whole thing about Black Lives Matter, it is anti-cop. It is all about painting cops as evil. And they will come back and say, well, now, not all cops are bad. Listen to what this dude is saying. He's making the claim. This is what cops do. The reason why cops support Kyle is because they know how important self-defense is to themselves. They know fully well that there's going to be an opportunity, possibly in the future, where they have to use their gun to defend themselves. And they want to come in on the side of Kyle because they want to establish a precedence that they can do so. Because if Kyle loses here, I mean, if you lose a self-defense claim after being chased by people and attacked by people, then no one is safe. I mean, what kind of valid self-defense claim could you ever have at that point? You would literally have to be being pummeled to death before you could take action, according to these people. And ultimately, that's what this is about. They want to get rid of self-defense. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment because they want you helpless. And therefore, once you are helpless, you've been disarmed, you can't defend yourselves, then they can take to the streets and burn your property and assault you and do whatever they want to further their political gains. That's what this is about. Why do you think that all the totalitarian governments get rid of guns and remove self-defense? It's so that it leaves the public unprotected. And now government can step in and do whatever the hell it wants. What he wants is Black Lives Matter and all of the other leftist extremist groups to be able to take over cities and rule them just like the Chop Chaz zone.
This story, honest to God, is actually one of the least surprising stories we've reported on ever.
That cops would support a kid defending himself, not surprising at all either. I agree.
All these cops are doing is showing us who they really are and what they're really about.
Because you had a small number of cops give money to a legal defense fund. And by the way, what if these cops had given money to Crystal Kaiser's legal defense fund? Let me ask you, the public, do you think that he would care? Do you think that he would have any objections? Crystal Kaiser's self-defense claim is weaker than Kyle's. In fact, I'm not certain it's even going to work. She really doesn't seem to be offering much of one. And I went over that in another video. But she was a 17-year-old black female, killed a white man. Now, the white man was reportedly raping her. That was her claim. That's looking a little bit thin right now, but okay. But she's going to be going to trial, and she needs money for her legal defense. I have no problem with people donating to it, even though she has been charged with murder, just like Kyle. But he would have also no problem. He would applaud people that give money to Crystal Kaiser's defense fund. But she's been accused of murder, just like Kyle. Why isn't she just guilty? And the reason why is very clear. The reason why he really thinks that Kyle is guilty is not because of what happened. It's because Kyle is white and conservative. That's what really bugs him. And again, if Kyle was black, he would have no trouble whatsoever with these donations.
And I'm sorry, but at this point, police in America cannot be reformed.
So what are you going to do? Let's hear your plan.
This is what they are, and it's what they always have been.
I've been saying, man, you got to watch for these people. I told you before, Stalin, he was able to find people who were more than happy to take political opponents down into the shelter and have them shot. He had no problem with it. And he had no problem finding people to do this. And you have to ask yourself, where do they come from? I know a lot of people think, oh, Stalin must have drained the nut farms for them, the loony bins. He must have gone into the psych wards. No. The guards that took people they knew were innocent down into the cellar and shot them were ordinary people. And so anybody who's absolutely willing to put a kid in prison for 60 years because of politics is not somebody to be trifled with. You got to be careful with them. Don't turn your back on these people. They are capable of some astonishing abuse. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.